Western classical music is art music produced or rooted in the traditions of Western culture, including both religious and secular music. Classical music started from before the 6th century AD, which includes the classical period and various other periods. The term classical music did not appear until the early 19th century. Performers who have studied classical music extensively are said to be classically trained. This training may come from private lessons from instrument or voice teachers, or from completion of a formal program offered by a conservatory, college, or university, such as a Bachelor of Music or Master of Music degree. In classical music, extensive formal music education and training, often to postgraduate level, is required. The key characteristic of European classical music that distinguishes it from popular music and folk music is that the repertoire tends to be written down in musical notation, creating a musical part or score. This score typically determines details of rhythm, pitch, and where two or more musicians are involved, how the various parts are coordinated. The written quality of the music has enabled a high level of complexity within them. The use of written notation also preserves a record of the works and enables classical musicians to perform the music from many centuries ago. The scintillating compositions of Richard Wagner, Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart, Ludwig van Beethoven, Johann Sebastian Bach still enthralls the audiences and listeners alike. Indian classical music is the classical music of the Indian subcontinent. It has two major traditions. The North Indian classical music tradition is called Hindustani, while the South Indian expression is called Carnatic. These traditions were not distinct until about the 16th century. During the period of Islamic rule of the Indian subcontinent, the traditions separated and evolved into distinct forms. Hindustani music emphasizes improvisation and exploring all aspects of a raga, while Carnatic performances tend to be shorter and composition-based. However, the two systems continue to have more common features than differences. Indian classical music has two foundational elements, raga and tala. In Indian classical, the space between the notes is often more important than the notes themselves, and it does not have Western classical concepts such as harmony, counterpoint, chords, or modulation. The root of music in ancient India is found in the Vedic literature of Hinduism. Carnatic music from South India tends to be more rhythmically intensive and structured than Hindustani music. Examples of this are the logical classification of ragas into melakartas and the use of fixed compositions similar to Western classical music. Carnatic raga elaborations are generally much faster in tempo and shorter than their equivalents in Hindustani music. In addition, accompanists have a much larger role in Carnatic concerts than in Hindustani concerts. Today's typical concert structure was put in place by the vocalist Ariyakudi Ramanuja Iyengar. The opening piece is called a Varnam and is a warm-up for the musicians. A devotion and a request for a blessing follows. Then a series of interchanges between ragams, unmetered melody, and talams, the ornamentation equivalent to the jor. This is intermixed with hymns called kritis. The pallavi or theme from the raga then follows. A common belief in South India is that Carnatic music represents a more ancient approach to classical music, whereas Hindustani music has evolved by external influences. The 16th century musician Tansen, who about the age of 60, joined the Mughal Akbar court. For many Hindustani music gharanas, he is their founder. It is still unclear when the process of differentiation of Hindustani music started. The process may have started in the 14th century courts of the Delhi Sultans. However, According to Jairas Bhoy, the North Indian tradition likely acquired its modern form after the 14th or after the 15th century. The development of Hindustani music reached a peak during the reign of Akbar. During the 16th century period, Tansen studied music and introduced musical innovations for about the first 60 years of his life with patronage of the Hindu king Ram Chand of Gwalior, and thereafter performed at the Muslim court of Akbar. Many musicians consider Tansen the founder of Hindustani music. Tansen's style and innovations inspired many, and many modern gharanas link themselves to his lineage. The Muslim courts discouraged Sanskrit and encouraged technical music. Such constraints led Hindustani music to evolve in a different way than Carnatic music. Hindustani music is mainly found in North India, Pakistan, and Bangladesh. It exists in four major forms: Dhrupad, Khyal, Tarana, and the semi-classical Thumri. Khyal is the modern form of Hindustani music, and the term literally means imagination. It is significant because it was the template for Sufi musicians among the Islamic community of India, and Qawwals sang their folk songs in the Khyal format.